to make their audience laugh. Satire is so very frightening, it's clearly a terrorist path. Listen to their conversation, they speak of peace, not war. Obama expectations, they always go too far. Metal in their hips, metal in their knees, they're hiding weapons no one can see. We have found them out, know what they're all about, a peace and social justice conspiracy. Someone singing for justice, someone singing for an end to war, someone singing for fairness, scaring us to the core. We're scared of gaggles of grannies singing their songs, gaggles of grannies make us quake, gaggles of grannies must be washed, our country is at stake. Grannies in their hats, a bunch of old bats, scaring us with what they sing. If they ever stay in tune, that will surely spell our doom. Spreading freedom and democracy, we're raging grannies, singing for justice. Peace, peace, peace.
10 arrested at Mother's Day weekend action at sub base. Members of the Seattle Raging Grannies entered the crosswalk at Northwest Trigger Avenue and Old Frontier Road Northwest, blocking the entrance to Naval Base Kitsap Bangor, Washington, on Saturday, May 9th, 2009. Using walkers and canes and carrying signs calling for an end to nuclear weapons, they were arrested by Kitsap County Sheriff's officers. Another group subsequently entered the roadway closer to the base entrance, holding a banner reading "Abolish Nuclear Weapons," and was also arrested. All were charged with attempted disorderly conduct. Supporters lined Northwest Trigger Avenue, holding a variety of signs and banners calling for an end to nuclear weapons. Members of Women in Black held signs saying, "We stand for peace." The approximately 50 participants were part of Ground Zero Center for Nonviolent Action's Mother's Day Vigil, 2009, and action honoring the intent of Julia Ward Howe's 1870 Mother's Day Proclamation, a passionate call for disarmament and peace. The theme of Ground Zero's action was "Mom Says, Use Words, Not Weapons." The 10 people arrested were Shirley Morrison, 86, of Seattle, Joy Goldstein, 73, of Vashon, Susan Kay, 63, of Seattle, Lori Rostholder, 64, of Seattle, Ann Hall, 63, of Seattle, Rosie Betts Zoll, 58, of Seattle, Jackie Hudson, 74, of Bremerton, Jessica Artega, 23, of Tacoma, and Larry Kirshner, 62, of Centralia, and Denny Moore, 64, of Bainbridge, Washington. On the Clear Creek Road Northwest overcrossing at Northwest Trigger Avenue, a group of Ground Zero supporters held a banner saying, "Mom Says, Use Words, Not Weapons. Abolish Trident." Ground Zero's next scheduled event will be August 8th to 10th, commemorating the anniversaries of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Naval Base Kitsap Bangor is home to the U.S. Navy's West Coast Trident nuclear submarine fleet. The warheads assigned to the ballistic missile submarines stationed at Bangor and Kings Bay, Georgia, now constitute more than half of the U.S. strategic weapons force, according to the Seattle Times. Ground Zero Center for Nonviolent Action is committed to nonviolent resistance to Trident and the abolition of all nuclear weapons.
I'm an amateur historian, and I lived in Germany for 5 years, during which time I had all manner of opportunity to ask the Germans, young and old, how could it be? How could it be that you, the most educated, among the most cultivated people in the Western world, how could you sit by and watch Hitler do what he did? How could you keep silence? How could your churches, your Catholic, your Lutheran church, not find their voices in watching what was going on? How could it be? And I never got a satisfactory answer to that. Never. A correspondent I know recommended a book to me which helps with the answer. It's called Defying Hitler by Sebastian Haffner. And I want to cite a few passages for this because they have an eerie parallel with what's going on now. Why, for example, were the World War I veterans, the German World War I veterans, why were they unable to tell their fellow citizens what war was like? Why didn't they step up to the plate and say, this is idiocy? When I was growing up in the Bronx, it was frowned on to be angry for very long. I mean, you could be angry for a day or two. If you're Irish, they'd give you a week, you could be angry. But if you kept being angry, there was something wrong with that. From my college days at Fordham University in New York, we had to study a lot of Thomas Aquinas. Well, Thomas cited John Chrysostom from the early church, 4th century, who said, he or she who is not angry when there is just cause for anger sins. Why? Because anger looks to the good of justice. And if you can live amid injustice without anger, you are unjust. And I have to say, from what I've seen of the institutional church in this country and most of the other faiths, they're still riding shotgun for the system. Let me tell you about one German who did speak out. His name was Albert Haushofer. Well, the SS, typically Germanic way, they insisted that each person, before they executed them, whether they hanged them or whether they shot them, they had to write a written confession. And Haushofer refused to do that. And they got increasingly impatient, and finally they shot him anyway. Well, when they picked him off the floor, out of his pocket fell a little settle, a little piece of paper on which he had written his confession. And it's short, and I'd like to recite it for you. The title was Schuld, the German word for guilt. Doch bin ich schuldig, aber anders als ihr denkt. Yeah, I'm guilty, but it's not what you're thinking. Ich musste früher meine Pflicht erkennen. I should have earlier recognized my duty. Ich musste schärfer Unheil, Unheil nennen. I should have more sharply called evil, evil. Mein Urteil habe ich zu lang gelenkt. I put off my judgment far too long. Now, Martin Luther King famously said, we must be prepared to match actions with the words we speak by seeking out every creative means of protest possible. I just feel very honored to be here at a conference the year after you all rose to the occasion when Cindy Sheehan got up here and said, I think I'll go over to Crawford and ask the president what this noble cause is. You guys really did all of us proud, you and Code Pink, because you went with her. You supported her. And the tradition out of which I come says very firmly that the first duty of discipleship is to encourage one another. We need to keep encouraging one another, and that's precisely what you all did for Cindy. I'd say that as I think about Cindy, as I think about Code Pink, and I'm proud to wear my Code Pink t-shirt, as I think about the Raging Grannies, well, one thing I ask myself, well, where are the Raging Grandpas? Where are the Raging Grandpas? I'd like to close here by quoting one of the people who has inspired me over the years. He happens to be a prophet. I'll finish with this little quote from Dante, also a poet, who said, "The hottest places in hell are reserved for those who remain neutral in times of crisis." Thank you very much.